Hello everyone, it's Hunter and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, it's so nice to meet you. Today's video, I thought I would just sit down and talk about the books that I read in July. July was a very slow book month for me, so there's not a whole lot of books, but yeah. I do one of these at the beginning of every month, so I thought it would be fitting to do so now. Also, I was filming a video earlier, and I'm also in the midst of packing for a trip, so ignore the stuff behind me. I thought about cleaning it up, but it wasn't happening. So anyway, with that being said, let's just go ahead and get started. The first book I read in July was The Drowning Woman by Robin Harding, and this book came out, I think, last summer, so yeah, June 2023, but it recently got re-released in paperback, and Grand Central Publishing was kind enough to send it to me, and I really loved it. I was actually very shocked by the ending of it. It's about this woman who she is living on the streets. She's kind of running from her past, and she finds a quiet neighborhood to sleep in her car, and one morning she wakes up and she sees a woman trying to drown herself in the ocean, and so obviously she has to go help her. And the story that continues after that is the relationship that this woman has with the other woman who tries to drown herself. There were a lot of plot twists, and I'll be completely honest, I was not expecting any of them, so I thought this was a really great read, and I actually can't wait to read more books by her because I thought this one was really good. The next book I read in July was The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren, and my friend actually bought two of these by accident, and instead of returning one, she was so kind and gave it to me instead, so I was really excited to read it. I have a lot of Christina Lauren books on my shelf, so I was excited to have a physical copy of it, but I really enjoyed this one. It is about a girl. She is, you know, just living life. She's kind of struggling a little bit, but she is doing okay, and when she was in college, she got married to this guy named West, and they got married for married housing because it was cheaper for them to have married housing. So they got married, and then at the end of their time together at school, like, they didn't live a married relationship, they just were roommates. They went their separate ways, and she thought that the divorce was finalized. She was good to go from there. Turns out she is not actually divorced, and there is a clause in West's inheritance that he has to be married for 5 years in order to receive his inheritance, which is a lot of money, which is why he is willing to go forth with this. However, his sister is getting married on a tropical island off the coast of Thailand, and he has to take his wife with him because otherwise it's gonna look really sketchy that they've never even met her, and they've been married for almost 5 years. So she goes with him. Obviously they have to share a villa together. They are obviously sharing a bed, and they obviously have to act like a couple. So yeah, I really liked it. It was a bit spicier than the other books that I've read by Christina Lauren, but I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really cute. I felt really good once I got finished reading it. It was just like very, you know how romance novels are. The next one is Are We There Yet by Savannah Scott, and I gave this one 4 stars because there were times when it felt a little bit boring to me. We have this group of friends. What are the main characters' names? Okay, so the main characters that the perspectives shift between are Cameron and Riley. Cameron is Riley's best friend's brother. She's always had a thing for him, and they are going on a cross-country road trip from their small town in Ohio to an island off the coast of California. I'm assuming that this fake island that this author made up is supposed to be similar to Catalina Island, which is near LA, which makes a lot of sense actually. If you don't know what Catalina Island is, apparently it's really cool. I've never been there, but I've seen pictures, and they basically are driving Route 66, and Riley is just so excited, and she wants to stop at all of these different places, and Cameron just wants to get there, and her best friend is there, and and Cameron's best friend is also on this trip. And the reason I gave this 4 stars, I thought it was cute, but the reason why it just felt like parts of it dragged, I felt like there was too much description because, okay, let me back up. This book is about their road trip, but I felt like it took forever for them to even get on the road. I think I was like 25 or 30% of the way through the book before they even got on the road, and it just felt like there was way too much backstory of their small town when the majority of the book didn't take place in the small town, when it was supposed to be about the road trip. And I also felt like Riley, who was the main character in the book, she turns 21 on the trip that they're on, so she is on the younger side. I'm almost 28, so I can see how I might find someone who is 20 years old to be a little bit more more immature, but she just felt really immature, if that makes sense. She was just so bouncy and excited about everything, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but she definitely reminded me of like a 12-year-old going on vacation for like the first time. So it was just a little bit, you know, but it was still a cute story. So I couldn't really give it any less than 4 stars because it was a cute story, but it was also 404 pages, so I felt like it kind of just dragged. Is that horrible of me to say? Anyway, next is The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brammer. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this also came out last year, and it was re-released in paperback, and St. Martin's Press sent me this one, and it took me a little bit to get into it, but once I did, I feel like once it picked up for me, it really picked up, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's about Clover. She is a death doula, which means that she is with people in their final moments. Sometimes she's there for a few hours, and sometimes she is like they're her client for a few weeks, depending on their condition and how soon she's contacted about them. So we kind of learned a little bit about some of her past clients, how they died, why they didn't have any family with them, or if they did have family with them. And she also was talking about, you know, grief that she's personally going through and things like that. She goes to this thing called a death cafe, which is essentially a support group for people to talk about death. And she meets this guy there who he seems to keep showing up everywhere, and he decides that he wants a death doula for his grandmother. So he hires her, and she has a story of a lost love that Clover is really interested in, and she really wants to help this woman get some closure on her past life and her past love, that she just really, one of her biggest regrets was not staying with this man. So she, along with the grandson, travel to this place. They tracked him down, and they travel to this place to go meet him, and they're going on this road trip. It's not a really long road trip. They're going from New York to Maine, so it's not an incredibly long road trip. I think they said that the total was like 7 hours or something. At the beginning, when Clover and Sebastian is the grandson's name, so when Clover and Sebastian meet each other, you kind of are like rooting for them to be together. Clover's never had a boyfriend. She's like in her mid-30s, so she's never had a boyfriend. She's never even been kissed, and so she feels regrets about that in her life, but she also feels regrets that she has not just like lived her life because she's been so focused on helping other people to leave their lives. And so just overall, it was really good. It was very thought-provoking, especially because I feel like death isn't something that people talk about in a positive light, or it's not something that people really want to talk about. It's a pretty taboo subject just in general because a lot of people are afraid of death. And I think seeing the perspective of people who are dying, actively dying in the book, as well as someone who has spent the last moments of these people's lives with them, I thought it was really good. And yeah, I really love contemporary books. I like when there's like a tiny inkling of like romance in there, but I like when it's not the main part of the book. So that really did it for me. The next book I read is A Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda, and I love all of her books. As soon as I see her book is available for me to read, I'm gonna download it so fast. This was published in April, and I actually listened to this on audiobook on Spotify, actually. And this one is about Hazel. She goes back to her hometown when her dad dies, and while she's there, she learns that a car has been uncovered from the lake, and then another car gets uncovered from the lake, and she begins to put pieces together about her life growing up, about her mom that disappeared, took off years earlier, about her dad's first wife, about her brothers, about her uncle, about the whole town and secrets and all the things. I thought it was really good. It played out really well, and I was like biting my nails the whole time. It was so good. 5 out of 5 for me. And the last book that I have completed this month is Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney, and I gave this one 5 stars as well. This is about 4 different characters. You have Edith, who is an old woman in a care home, Cleo, who is Edith's daughter, and then you have Patience, who is a worker in the care home, and Frankie, who is Patience's mother. And there's a lot happening. There's a lot. They have a lot of backstory, so it's kind of hard for me to describe it here for you without like telling you the whole plot. But basically Cleo, excuse me, what's her name? I'm just gonna read the description, it'll be easier. Let's see. 20 years after a baby is stolen from a stroller, a woman is murdered in a care home. Two crimes are somehow linked, and a good bad girl may be the key to discovering the truth. Edith may have been tricked into a nursing home, but at 80 years young, she's planning her escape. Patience works there cleaning messes and bonding with Edith, a kindred spirit. But Patience is lying to Edith about almost everything. Edith's own daughter Cleo won't speak to her, and someone new is about to knock on Cleo's door, and their intentions aren't good. With every reason to distrust each other, the women must solve a mystery with 3 suspects, 2 murders, and 1 victim. If they do, they might just find out what happened to the baby who disappeared, the mother who lost her, and the connections that bind them. I'll tell you what, I actually recorded a video of myself predicting what I thought happened, and I was halfway right, but because I was only halfway right, I did give it 5 stars because I thought it was going to be predictable, and then it ended up surprising me. So I think that's why I actually really enjoyed this. So yeah, there was a plot twist to what I thought it was going to be. So like I said, I was halfway right, but I wasn't like fully right. Anyway, I thought it was a good book, so I really enjoyed it. It came out last year. Also, the cover makes no sense to the book. Honestly, it's not really relevant. At least I don't think it is, but anyway, that is everything I have finished reading this month. I am currently working on 2 physical books that are my nightstand. I'm currently working on this one, Meet Me in Paradise by Libby Hubsher, and I am not very far along in either one of these because it takes a lot out of me to read a physical book. But I got this one at a used bookstore in LA in 2022, so I really need to read this, also because summer's almost over. And then Grand Central Publishing sent me this one, The Family Across the Street, and it's been so good so far. It's also a shorter one, so maybe I'll finish one of these before the end of this month. It's the 31st. I'm probably not going to. And then let me pull up 2 other books I'm reading right now. No, just kidding. One other book I'm reading right now is If You Tell a Lie by Lucinda Berry, and I will read anything that woman writes. You'll obviously be getting a review of these books once I finish them, but that's everything I've read. Like I said, it was a slower month for me. Let me see how many books it was. Okay, so it was still 6 books, which averages more than 1 book a week, but I am usually like 8 to 10 books a month. However, for my Goodreads goal, I am at 71 books for the year, and my goal is 100, so I am almost 3/4 of the way through my goal, and we're not 3/4 of the way through the year yet. So that's all I have for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.